And the winner is Rachel, our Survivor 47 sole survivor, the winner of the season. And we have a fun episode to talk about, which could have been so anticlimactic, but to give the editors credit and production team at Survivor credit, they really had me thinking, man, maybe Sam has a chance at sneaking this out. All that and more here in a second on my Survivor analysis finale. But first up, I want to thank everybody who came and checked out my live stream tonight, watching the finale here. We got 8 subscribers. We got over 100 viewers. So I want to thank you guys for that. I really appreciate the love and support from all the reality TV community in the channel. And we're not done with this year now, because we'll have an end of year respective next Wednesday, going over what things I hope we see in 48 and hope we don't see in 48 from this last season. But then next year, we'll have off the bat Dondi and my favorite thing, Traitors Season 3 coverage here on the channel. So stick around for that. I can't wait to talk about that and more here for reality TV. But without further ado, we got to talk about the Survivor 47 finale and where Rachel stands as a winner. Yes. What a wild finale in some ways. I think this is a tale of two halves. You have kind of the first half where we get the immunity challenge and Rachel ends up winning it, and you're like, oh, this is the most obvious thing ever. She's in the final 3. She's won this game. This is going to be a boring episode. And then the Survivor gods, the Survivor editor gods, production team gods, gave us magic, because it all started with the very obvious given out front Teenie versus Sam and Fire that Rachel said right away, hey, Sue's been loyal to me, I'm bringing her to final 3, and you two tried to vote me out, you go to Fire, I want one of you gone. And Rachel also being like, I'm going to spend all my time with Teenie and do as much as I can with Teenie to make sure she beats Sam. Then we get to the fire making, and Teenie gets a big lead, like a very, very big lead. I don't know editing-wise how big of a lead it was, but her flame was pretty much on that fire a good amount of time. And the number one thing that stopped her, the wind. This wind was doing all it could to blow Teenie's fire away from where it needs to hit to burn the rope. And I don't know if I've ever felt so annoyed and upset at fire making before, because it really did feel like Teenie did the job well. She got screwed over by where she sat and where Mother Nature was at. So I don't know if Survivor production needs to fix this issue in future, because I still think Teenie clearly wins this fire making if it wasn't for the wind. But because of the wind just not allowing Teenie's fire to hit her seemingly unbreakable string, Sam is able to catch up and come back and win this. And with this narrative arc of Sam being scrappy, with Sam always being Rachel's target and never being taken out, with Sam always fighting from the bottom, being on the right side of the vote, making things happen, making things happen against Rachel, there was this real narrative that, maybe Sam can beat Rachel. And even in the final tribal council with Sam, Sue, and Rachel, poor Sue, she was given like a happy birthday message. Gabe had given her love in different points, but it was very much the Rachel and Sam showdown, and they really showed a lot of clips that make you realize, hey, maybe Rachel isn't as great as everybody on Twitter and TikTok are wanting her to be. She did vote the most wrong out of everybody in the final 3. She did really survive off of advantages that were kind of luck to her. She did an unimpressive immunity run, tying, 4 other ladies for having the most immunity runs in a season. And maybe she was a little bit off socially. She wasn't able to get her target of Sam out really any time at all. Sam was scrappy. Sam was kind of at the bottom, but he persevered through. He worked his way through to make sure Caroline and Sue and Rachel got broken up. He raised Genevieve's threat level. He raised Rachel's threat level to make sure he was never the target at the final, 5 vote out. He won the fire when he needed to. He was more correct on votes than Rachel. He was maybe more in line with some of those votes than Rachel. And it really makes you think of like, man, maybe Sam does deserve this win. But alas, once the votes came in, Kyle was the sole person to vote for Sam, and we got a 7-1 Rachel win, which I gotta say, it's a big congratulations. Rachel is a deserving winner. She played this game flawedly in areas, but she played it spectacularly in other areas. People might use things like idols and advantages as luck happensations, but in some ways, she kind of used that luck and created it in the right ways through. Her immunity wins, if it was a guy, would be used as a reason to win the game, and I'm happy that she won the game because of that, because we've seen, like we heard from Andy, like Mike Holloway win just because he went on an immunity run. In Survivor, I believe 30 that was, Worlds Apart. And, Rachel played a Survivor winning game, and I wouldn't have been upset if Sam won either. I do feel sorry that Sue kind of got dragged along, but she seemed happily dragged along, and, her game wasn't one that was seen as a winner. She joins, many other people like Caroline from Survivor 45, no, not 45, 44 with the group that just didn't have a vote at the end. A pretty prestigious, fun group of people in this new era. Sam got the one vote, which is like another new era group with we got a lot of people who got one vote, and Rachel is our winner. And where does Rachel rank with all of these? A lot of people have been saying she's the best player of the new era. I think Annie put this out best. She was missed on a lot of votes. She was on the wrong side of a lot of votes. She got blindsided a lot. She would have been gone if it wasn't for, immunities coming her way with challenge wins and or idols and advantages. Doesn't make it means she's not deserving of being the winner. She definitely is, but I think he nailed it right. As much as we don't like it, she's very much in that Ben and Mike Holloway tier of winner of you deserve the win, you're a good winner, but you kind of had, the stars had to align for you very, very well to get this win. Whereas I think there's other winners in this new era, like a Jam Jam, like a D, like a Marianne, even maybe a little bit of, Kenzie and Gabler a little bit. I mean, I would put Kenzie and Gabler kind of aligned with Rachel, also in there with like an Erica, but I would say, she is nowhere near as good of a winner as your, Marianne, as your D, and as your Jam Jam. For me, those three are still the top tierest winners who are able to play socially, who even some people might have gotten heat, like Jam Jam, but were able to use their social capital and their social abilities and their strategic abilities to get back on top of the game and really run their game through. A Marianne, while she played at the bottom, was never a real target for anybody that season. She really was one vote away from the, in jury from having a perfect game of nobody ever voted really against her, and she had a chance, and she wins the game with all the votes at the end. I think it's a lot more impressive to play at the bottom, never be the target, make big moves, get an idol played at you at 5, and also get dragged to the final 3. That's a lot more impressive of a game, and as a game player standpoint, and have a much better final tribal. I think Rachel's final tribal, the reason why I was kind of wondering if Rachel was going to win was because at least the edited part they showed, her tribal council wasn't that great. I think a Jam Jam, I think a Marianne, and I think a D would have torched Rachel in final tribal council in their performances compared to where Rachel was at now. I think Rachel fits a little bit with the Gabler and the Kenzies and the Ericas of the world. Great, fun winners who deserve to win their season, but I wouldn't call their overall gameplay anything that I would put in higher tiers and top tiers. I think when it comes to her immunity wins, we need to really look at Rachel and give her the applause in that. She kept herself immune. She was a physical player. She was good at the puzzle. She was good at the endurance type stuff. So much love to Rachel for that, and she gets big stat points for that. But she was on the wrong side of votes a lot. She was blindsided a lot, and she did need like an idol find in her right, shopping spree, as well as sold to save her as the only non-member of the one tribe, and a tribe split away from being out of this game much earlier than the finale. Even. So it's just one of those where you gotta like weigh back and forth. Again, she's a very fun winner. I think Rachel's a very deserving winner. But I don't think she deserved to be at the highest of high tiers of even this new era. I would love to see her back and maybe prove me wrong in season 50 or other seasons further down. But I do put the likes of Marianne, Jam Jam, and Dee. Those still are, to me, are my top tier golden 3 best winners of the new era. All on the top tier, all played incredible games, all went in the tribal council, delivered a slam dunk of a tribal council, and all were able to really pounce on their opportunities this season. Like Jess was like, oh, Rachel's biggest play this season was playing an idol at Final 6 when everybody in the game told her they were voting her out. That's not as impressive as working, Operation Italy from this season. That's not as impressive as voting, Mary Ann split vote. That's not as impressive as, the Tika 3 working their way through the whole entire game. Dee's able to manipulate Austin, in that way and getting him, having both her pieces work on both sides. Rachel did not have that much control in that game to have that amazing gameplay move that puts her up higher. But as a season overall, where does 47 rank for me? It was a fun season. You had a lot of highs with episodes like Operation Italy. Last week's episode and the finale I thought were expertly done, really took a season that was very predictable and made it really dramatic and flaring and interesting. But I do think some of the issues of the pre-merge, as well as, with how advantages and lost votes worked, kind of were disengaging. I think the first initial episodes of the mergatory type stuff was a little bit disengaging and not that great. So this season is a mixed bag for me. I think some of its highs are the highest of highs of Survivor New Era the last few years, but I do think it had some of the most disengaging lows that could easily have had you check out if you weren't watching the season as a whole. So I would give this season like a solid 4 out of 5 type rating, maybe 3.5 out of 5. Like, we'd give it like a B rating. It had a lot of fun characters in this season. I don't know if it had as many great characters as we've had the last couple years, whether it be Q. Q was a great character. I think Dee was a great character. Obviously, you mentioned Jam Jam, Venus, everybody. I don't think anybody was as much of a character as, say, Venus was. I mean, Andy's kind of close. But it was an overall somewhat, decent season. I think this is a cast you might forget about outside, like, the top 6, maybe even the top 7. Because Andy's 7, yeah. No, Andy's 6, so yeah. I think you'd forget kind of the top 6, anybody who's not in the top 6, unless you're a fan of Rob Has a Podcast, or just podcasting in general, which you'll remember Asia, and you'll remember John Lovett, and you'll obviously remember, like, Rome. Even me as the biggest Soul fanboy, and I would love to see Soul back, Soul's my favorite. I think from the average person, I think if you look back at this season, Soul could be easily a forgettable character. In fact, if it wasn't for Rome, Soul probably would feel like a forgettable character. Kyle, Caroline, Gabe, Like, I think looking back, you're gonna, like, this cast wasn't as loaded as it was at the very top. I do think there's been other casts that have felt just better loaded overall, but tell me in the comments down below what you think about Survivor 47. Are you happy Rachel won? Do you think the episode was edited as well as it was here? And as we go off, we're going to have two different things. We're going to have our playoff for Teeny, who is in fourth place, last member of the jury, and then we'll have a celebration bit type thing with Rachel as she wins Survivor 47. But I look forward to seeing you in my other content, whether it be movie reviews, whether it be maybe TV show content or Steeler content, or just other reality TV content and Survivor content coming on the channel here. So like and subscribe if you want to see all that. And I can't wait to see everybody just talk about 47 and hear everybody's takes. So until next time, I want to thank the Survivor community once again for being so lovely and engaging. And let's leave these players off with their final in memoriam type things at the very end. I will see you later. Have a great day. And once again, congratulations to Rachel.